You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong. Author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. Today I have Eric Nevins with me, and I'm going to let Eric take it away and explain more about what he does.
Yeah, well, I am a podcaster and just an online business guy. I love helping other podcasters. My background's in spiritual formation. I have a show called Halfway There, where we talk about the spiritual journey, and I started it in order to kind of go through all the stages of the journey, not just the ones that get a lot of attention. So that's what I do. I live in Denver. I'm currently, like everyone else, locked down in our house with my wife of 22 years, 4 kids ranging from age 18 to 9, and a wonder dog we call Nisa.
Ugh, 4 kids. Ugh, I'm surprised you, yes. So, people, if you hear kids in the background, if you hear kids opening up the door, don't mind them, because that's on Eric's end. And if you hear people opening up doors on my end, don't mind them. I am also living with two adults who are who are living with me because I need 24-hour care. Well, one is my aide, so she's an essential worker. So let's just bear with the circumstances, you guys. But Eric, I do have a question for you. If your best friend was going to write a book, what would the title be?
Yeah, I think I would like that book to be called Completely Accepted and Perfectly Loved. And
why?
Well, those are two phrases that I've sometimes asked myself this question: if I were going to get a tattoo, I don't have any tattoos, but if I were going to get a tattoo, what would I get? And those two phrases come to mind because I think they define maybe not the experience of life that I've had, but what I'm pursuing. And so learning to realize that I'm completely accepted. I've struggled with feeling accepted. My personality type is just that way, but also experiences that I've had made me feel unacceptable, if I can say it.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I've wrestled with that, and definitely part of my own journey is just trying to find my place. And so, and also, perfectly loved. Sometimes you don't always feel loved. I know we all have this experience of feeling loved by others. And so, just kind of pursuing that and finding both really in God and in his acceptance and his love. So if anything, if I hope that my life is about anything, I hope that that's what people get out of it. But we'll see. That's kind of a fancy title, huh? It should be written in like script font somewhere.
Yeah. And so, if you had to move house and take 5 things with you, what would they be?
Okay, I have a clarifying question. Can I assume that my family and my wonder dog Nisa are?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Because when I asked this question, it used to be 3 things, and people forget that they have family. They have
Right,
family
okay.
and pets that they have to take. So, yes, you guys. Yeah,
Very cool.
if you had to take 5 things with you, what would they be?
All right, I'm going to give you 2 practical things and 3 things that I just love. So the practical things are we have a lockbox full of our most important documents, right, in our house, and I would grab that because that's very important. I would grab my laptop because I could see if I had to leave, I'm gonna probably need access to the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
And so those are kind of practical, just things that I need. But things that I love that I would absolutely have to take, and some of them would be a little bit cumbersome. I would take my uh, Gibson Hummingbird acoustic guitar, which I bought on a whim. My sister in law was getting married. She wanted me to lead some worship songs. I had a junky beach guitar that you just really shouldn't play in front of anybody ever. And so I thought I need to get a good guitar, and I went to this little guitar shop in Des Moines, Iowa, called Yield Guitar Shop, and I went there like the last hour of their day, and they had the kind of guitar that I've been coveting, just desiring for a long time, for years, over a decade. They had it. It was just the most beautiful thing. I played it, balanced, just lots of great notes, and I loved it. I fell in love with it right away. They were starting to close, and I had to make a decision because I don't live in Des Moines, Iowa. I was going to travel hundreds of miles away, and I knew if I didn't buy it then, I would never get a chance to get it again. And so I spent more money than I should admit to on this guitar without asking my wife. But it is a beautiful instrument, and I love it. So I would take that. I would also grab something that is meaningful to me right now. I recently started writing for Podcast Magazine, and in last month we were in San Diego. The guy who started Podcast Magazine is a man named Steve Olsher, and he gave to all the category directors like me. I'm the category director of religion and spirituality for the magazine. He gave us a framed copy of the first cover, and for whatever reason, that just really resonated with me and made me so just I felt honored and privileged to be part of the team. And so I never thought I'd have my name next to a magazine or in a magazine, and so I get to do that. And I would grab that, and then I would grab. I have a number of a kind of stack that I'm looking at right now of St. Louis Cardinals baseball caps, and I love the Cardinals. I see them every day or every year when they come to Colorado. They were supposed to be here in about 2 weeks. We'll see what that's not going to happen, but maybe they'll end up here or not. I don't know, in Colorado. But so I grab those because they're special to me. Usually when I buy hats, it's because they won something, or it's a special occasion with a friend or family member when we're attending a game. So those are useful to me.
And what was your morning routine pre-coronavirus and post-coronavirus? Let's set the scene
Yes.
here a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. So I am not a morning person as much as I wish I was. Before Corona started, my kids had to go to school. I would get up about 6:30, and I would get myself ready to go. Or well, I'd wake up the kids so that they could get moving, and then I'd get myself ready to go. And they're old enough now that they can do most things by themselves. My 11-year-old still likes it when we make his peanut butter and jelly sandwich because he won't eat anything else. And so we'll often would make his sandwich and kind of put out any kind of vitamins that people have to take and whatever, and then they would get themselves ready to go and go out the door. At that point, I would make my first cup of coffee. I would check my email, and just kind of sometimes I'd spend a little time in scripture and in prayer, and then get down to work. Now the funny thing has happened, because we don't have to be anywhere. Like our kids are doing online learning with their school.
Yeah.
We've time shifted, and so instead of trying to go to bed at 9, we stay up until like 11, and we get up at 7 because we don't have to be anywhere early. Which personally, I would rather life be that way. I like that better. There's more natural rhythm for me, but it's so now it's not too different. I wake up, get myself ready, and in the bathroom, and then I will go downstairs. But usually by then, 7:30 or so, my kids are already up and starting to get themselves ready to go on their computers. And but I usually just check in on them. They're pretty self-sufficient at this point, and I just make sure everybody's kind of doing what they're supposed to do, and then I get to work myself.
Yeah. So, okay, for those of you that don't have kids, and for those of you who are wondering what these kids are doing off cross country, and including
Yep.
me because I'm obtaining a journalism degree, I have been I wasn't blessed with being laid off from my job, but I have been blessed that my school was already online. So this online learning thing is new to me. And so now I just have more time to concentrate on it. But for those of you that don't have kids and are thinking, okay, Eric is going to go insane. Now, what is really happening, and I can tell you from an educator's perspective, what is really happening is these different schools all across the country are using different learning modalities. And in those learning modalities, depending on the age group, they may have aids, the games, they may have phonics games, they may have um, Microsoft Word, depending on the age group, and then what the parents do is get packets from the school and then that following Monday they have to drop the packets off. So
Mm.
for those of you who are wondering, well, what does online schooling look like for the K through 12 um, ratio here now in a time of coronavirus? That's what it looks like. And for me, as an adult learner, I have to sit down and do my homework assignment, but I'm not doing the paper packets, but I am also doing the online end. So that's what it looks like for adult learners.
Yeah, really interesting. My kids happen to go to a school where they already do online learning.
Okay.
All my boys. So when we we live in Denver. When there's a snowstorm, and maybe other schools might delay, and they say, "Okay, we're going to come in 90
Yeah.
minutes later."
Yeah.
Our school says, "Okay, if it's a delay, it's a work from home day, a virtual day," and
Okay.
so then the kids will do that. So they're kind of accustomed to it, but they might be one of the only schools in the whole state that was like that, and so that's kind of
Yeah,
yeah,
and
a little different.
my little my school, the school that I was at previously, I was taking the online version too. So I am used to this online learning environment. But yeah, it's a little bit different for those of you who are not used to online learning anything, online learning environments. So yeah, that's why I was giving you guys the inside scoop of what these kids are doing.
It's changing the world for sure.
Yes. And so, Eric, what is your favorite book and what is the title?
I have a favorite book. It's called The Spirit of the Disciplines: Understanding How God Changes Lives by a man named Dallas Willard. I met him once um, before he passed away, but this book is my favorite book because it literally changed my life. And so I read it for the first time right around, I don't know, I was maybe in my early 20s. I was in school and I was having to do a paper, a project, and presentation on something related to physical fitness and kind of whatever you want to using our bodies. It was like a fitness class, and I was not interested in that at all. We would do things like, I remember one time they pulled out a cow heart and were showing us how that works. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that.
No.
But my project, I ended up doing about how spiritual disciplines affect us. And spiritual disciplines are just things that we do in our bodies in order to affect our spirits. And this book really helped me understand it. It's called The Spirit of the Disciplines because it's not really telling you how to do them or what to do. It's telling you why to do them and what they why they have the effect that they do. And so that really helped me understand some things. And there's a really important article in the back that had been a article in Christianity Today called "Discipleship for Super Christians Only," and he, of course, answers it as, "Hey, no, if you're going to follow Jesus, you are a disciple." And so that answered some questions for me. It sent me on the path that ultimately ended up into podcasting, but also took me through a whole bunch of schooling and a whole bunch of other practices.
And so, your favorite book, give us the title again, just in case people want to go find it.
It's called The Spirit of the Disciplines.
The Spirit of the Disciplines, you guys. And I know that Audible is giving now in a time of coronavirus, Audible is giving a discount. I know that Overdrive and Libby are also terrific because they use that at libraries. And I know that Amazon Kindle Ultimate may be giving a discount. So if you guys want to go read the Spirit of the Disciplines, be my guest. Go, because now is the time to be reading good books and educating ourselves on different modalities.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Eric, as we wrap this interview up, do you have any questions for me?
I do. So here's what I was wondering. If you could curate a conversation with any three people from history, living or dead, who would it be? Who would you invite to that dinner party?
Oh, now, see, this is one of the old questions I used to ask.
Did you ask one?
I used to ask people this one all the time, but I never put it in a conversation aspect. I used one individual, and so we'll see. Okay, Michelle Obama, Tim Cook, and I guess I would say Mother Teresa.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I guess I would say Mother Teresa, Tim Cook, and Michelle Obama.
What would each person bring to that conversation?
Michelle Obama would teach me how to deal with chaos better. And I think that Mother Teresa would do too because of what she did when she was alive. She did so much work for people in need that she would teach me how to be grounded enough to deal with chaos. And Tim Cook would just tickle my fancy because I'm a big Apple user. So Tim Cook would tickle my fancy, and I would ask each of them how we could better people with disabilities. I know that Michelle Obama had the Get Up and Move campaign. I know that Mother Teresa of Calcutta did so much for the invalids and so much for the poor and so much for the needy. And then I think that Tim Cook would just be a wisdom of knowledge now how to use assistive technology better.
Yeah, I bet that would be a great conversation.
Yeah. So those are the three I would bring together. And yeah, and I'm not afraid of having guys in the room with a bunch of women. No,
Yeah.
that's not. You would think I would have said a bunch of women. No, I think that the guy is wonderful. I believe that guys have much wisdom as women do, even though um, women feel like they shouldn't empower the world, but also at the same time, smart Alex like Steve, Tim Cook. I almost said Steve Jobs, but Tim Cook and Steve Wozniak would empower me to use assistive technology even better.
I love it. That's amazing.
So, Eric, where can people find you? And of course, where can people listen to your podcast? And then I do have one more question for you since you do host a podcast.
Yeah. Well, people can find me at ericnevins.com, ericnevins.com, and that's where I I hang out most of the time. Find the archives of the podcast there. Any place that you listen to your podcast, so whatever app you're listening to this podcast in, you can get my podcast. It's called Halfway There. It's one part hat tip to Bon Jovi because everybody knows Living on a Prayer, and one part saying that, hey, the spiritual journey is something that we're on. We're always on that road. We're only halfway.
Yes.
So that if you look up Halfway There, you can find it.
Well, I think you have a new fan. I think you have a new fan. Me, aka me. And yes, I'm hungry for knowledge, just as everyone else is nowadays. But I want to ask you this. Have you noticed uptick in your download numbers
Mm.
since coronavirus?
A little bit. So we've been discussing that. I have a group for Christian podcasters on Facebook called Christian Podcasters Association. And I've noticed we've been having this discussion a lot because people are getting a little worried. Some people are seeing dips and some people are seeing their numbers climb. And I think it just depends on your show and what you're doing and where people listen to it. So if people
Yeah,
were listening to your show on their commute, well, they're not commuting, and so
yeah,
they're probably out of the habit of listening to your show. If they were listening to your show during work hours while they were working, then they might be listening still. Or and then I think but so I actually saw a article by Chartable, which is a chart service for podcasting, and they said that most podcasts are down about 20%, but the religion and spirituality category, my category, is down 30%. And I think that might be because a lot of churches are now they're jumping into the digital game the way
yeah.
that they
Oh,
hadn't before,
yes. Oh,
and so
yes.
people are getting that kind of content in other places. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when this is all over, if it goes back to normal, or if I expect that probably many churches are gonna open up their ideas of what it means to actually minister to others, to the digital space in ways that they hadn't
Yes.
before.
Yes, because um, I know from my end of church, which I will explain in another podcast. I know they're doing what they can digitally, and I know that a lot of churches are doing what they can digitally. And what I keep telling people is people keep saying to me, um, do you feel like video is better? Do you feel like um, video's better, audio? I keep saying, well, audio's better because you don't have to sit there and listen to the audio. The video. You can close the app, send, go on the merry way, and do it while you're multitasking.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So I was just curious of your opinion, And how, for those who don't know about Podcast Magazine, I do because I'm in the space, but for those who don't know, how are we doing it? Is it digital or is it hard copy or what?
Yeah, right now Podcast Magazine is a digital magazine that you can get if you have an iPhone. Since you're an Apple person, you can just what you got to do is go to podcastmagazine.com and subscribe there with your email address, and then they'll send you a link and in your email, and then you can go to download the app, and it'll know that you have it already for free. Otherwise, the app will try to charge you for it. So you got to go through the website first. But podcastmagazine.com right now, it is a free lifetime subscription to the digital version. I know that he's looking at maybe charging at some point. So if you hear this, go to Podcast Magazine now and pick that up.
Yes. And is it the same on Android?
It is. Yeah. Same
Okay.
thing. There's just an app. I don't have an
So-
Android, so I'm not exactly sure. But mine.
I don't have my Android either, so I'm not exactly sure you guys. But I'm sure if you go to podcastmagazine.com on the Android side, I'm sure it's the same thing to download the app. I mean, otherwise Google Play Store will charge you for it. And so, yes. And Eric, I enjoyed our conversation today, and I hope you guys enjoyed Eric's wisdom. And good luck with coronavirus, Eric, and the chaos. And you guys, mark my words when I say this, it's not going to be over until August. It's not going to be over until August because people were not heeding the warnings and taking my leads. People were not heeding the ones. So now we're stuck. We're stuck in Colorado on a beautiful day, and that's all I say about that. And so, mark my words, just be safe, be happy, be sane, and just listen to podcasts or listen to something else that you find enjoyable, because music, podcasts, and everything else change our moods. And go learn, go think outside the box, you guys. And I appreciate you guys, and thanks to you guys. Bye.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.